Hey community, welcome to our sermon podcast for wanderers, seekers, and thinkers, for deconstructing and reconstructing. This is a feed of Open Door Church, a faith community focused on God's love and grace, a progressive church built around action, community, and people. Enjoy this week's message and check back often as we're posting new content every week. Well, good morning. Welcome back. I'm going to do a short introduction this morning just to a video of some footage that we shot a little while ago, and I don't think most of you have seen it. We haven't made it very public, but we'll work to get it more broadly publicized and allow you to see it this morning as well. I'm a little groggy this morning. My dog had me up every 5 minutes from 12 to 1 this morning, and trying to decide if she needed to go out or not, and then like from 1 to 2, I had to make sure that she was up every 5 minutes so that she didn't get any rest while she was trying to do that. It just seemed to make fair sense to me. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about Jesus with that in mind. I think that what this video intended to do, just to give you some heads up, it is shot when Anita Place was the tent city down in Maple Ridge was alive and running and functioning, and we were there every week and serving food, or sometimes just to hang out and help and care for people, and really ultimately just to say, look, we want to support you, like we're in your corner. And in those experiences and in those conversations, you might have heard me share this before, but there was one, or you might have heard it from her directly. There was one comment that really stuck with me over time, and it was from a woman that was living at Anita Place, and her name is Tracy, and she was talking about her experience with others in the community. And some of this comes out in the interviews that we did, although we didn't interview Tracy. But it really struck with me because in every moment, at every point in time, at every interaction, whether it's in a store, at a restaurant, or just simply walking down the street, she talks about having to evaluate whether this person arriving is friend or foe. Is this somebody who is going to be kind to me, or is this somebody that's going to be aggressive and mean and hateful? I don't know about you, but I don't interact with the world that way, and it caught me off guard that in every instance that she meets someone, she has to quickly and effectively process, is this person going to be friendly or not friendly? It's a world that consumes you. It's a world that requires you to think differently about the community around you. It is a place that I think ultimately drags you away from your own humanity and away from the community that should be supporting and caring for you and providing an inclusive space for you to experience community and love and grace. And instead, it is a constant mode of survival, a constant question of whether someone is going to be hateful or violent even, which is regularly the experience of those who live on the streets, or whether they are going to be kind and maybe generous or friendly or look them in the eye. it is indicative of the world that she lives in and day out. Just that one piece, never mind everything else going on, but that one piece of how she has to approach each person that shows up in her space, in her life. And I think about this, and I think about as we've worked in the past, COVID has put a stop to a lot of our work, and we need to figure out what that is that we're supposed to be doing and how we're supposed to be caring for those. Because if we look through the story of Jesus, we see regularly, we see consistently, we see in each moment, Jesus is connecting someone back to the world around them. I think about Jesus meeting the woman at the well, as she's often referred to, and this moment when I think she experiences someone seeing her for her, seeing her in her fullness, in her humanity, restoring dignity and value just by experiencing and seeing her, looking her in the eyes. I think about many, many moments throughout the Gospels where Jesus approaches someone who isn't expected to be approached, where Jesus sits in the home of Martha and Mary and spends time teaching something that was both against all of the social norms and quite literally not welcome in that community or in that society. And then I think about other moments where he approaches people who are sick, who by law are supposed to be on the outskirts of society, on the margins of community and culture and even religious communities. The space that should be the most welcoming and the most inviting are often the most harmful and the most aggressive in their rejection of those on the margins, and Jesus reaches out and brings them in. I think about that moment in the crowd when the woman reaches out to touch his cloak, thinking, if I can just touch his cloak, I will be healed. And Jesus immediately stops. There's people crowding around him, and Jesus immediately stops and says, Who touched me? And even those around him are like, everyone touched you. Like this is non-COVID. We're in this crowded space and everyone has just touched you. And then he listens to her story. And I think in that moment that he sees her face to face, eye to eye, and welcomes her into community and into wholeness. We put this set of video, this footage together to help us connect more deeply with our own humanity, but also with a group of people that we often don't know how to connect with. To hear their stories, and some of it will feel mundane, and I want that to be part of it for your experience. I want you to hear the parts of their life that they want to share, of who they are and what makes them tick and what makes them move about and live and be. Because it is that connection point that allows us to connect with someone eye to eye and to see them for who they are, to see them in their fullness as human, as people, as creations of God. And then I also want you to experience in this the connection to those struggles, what it means for someone to live in this as they share pieces and moments of time where they experience the community around them. And we'll come back after this and just talk real briefly about what we do with these kinds of moments. But I want you to connect the work of Jesus to the shared experience of members of our community that live on the streets or in social housing or or in other ways are marginalized because of their housing situations. And I want you to hear Jesus' words speaking into their lives and into your own life. How are we to respond to need? How are we to respond to those around us? And what does it mean? And this was part of what we were doing when we were taking food. Is not so much providing the food, although that's important and it was needed. But beyond that, to sit with or to stand with and have a meal or to share a meal and to share moments of community is to restore the wholeness of our community, the inclusiveness of what community is supposed to be and what should be. It is what Jesus does in each of these moments when he heals someone who is sick or reaches into those lives of those who are marginalized in his community and brings them back into that community and restores with wholeness life in each of these miniature moments of liberation throughout the Gospels. How do we do that? How do we participate in that work here some 2,000 years later? What does it mean for us to also participate in miniature liberations in our community, in the world around us? So not to tell you how to experience these stories in this video, but to give you some things to think about as they share. We're going to hit play, and I'll be back after this to talk just for a few more minutes before we close.
My family's from Budapest, so they came here in 56, 57, so they didn't know English. I had to teach my family English. I failed grade 3 because they didn't teach me, because I didn't know English. I'm self-taught. I've only got a grade 8 education, but I read everything I learn.
I busk up in front of CIBC and Royal Bank like almost every day. I go there because it takes a lot of nuts to sit in front of 1 million people walking by you, right? I love it when they walk by, they have their noses up in the air, and then by the end of it, they've turned, they've walked over, and they've dropped their loot in the kitty, right? Yeah. That means I won.
My legal name is Sabrina, but when I was 18, a friend and I were playing a game where we had written the alphabet down on a piece of paper, working downwards, giving letters to each other, and Zyla came out of it. And except for it didn't have the H on the end of it. And then when I was 19, I told all my friends to start calling me Zyla. And most of my friends were like, oh, it'll last a week, it'll last a month. And 10 years later, most of my friends were like, I can't even call you Sabrina anymore, you're just Zyla.
Well, I just clean up garbage, because when my dad died, I was like, Maple Ridge is going to hell, I need to clean up. There's one bylaw, yeah. He showed me the paper after. I guess I was in shock when my dad dying. He gave me garbage bags and stuff, and then I started crying. When he said it to me after, I said, what did I do with the garbage? I have no freaking idea what I did with it.
The first tent city out here was mine. That was on Cliff Avenue. My husband died there. Well, my husband, this last time I seen him there. And I put up I had my 7-day wake for him, and I just never left. And everybody just crowded around me and was giving me support, right?
I was an assistant manager, and they wanted me to do a landlord scam thing. These slumlords that are in Maple Ridge, a lot of them. And I wouldn't do it. I figured out they weren't paying me in March. My suite was supposed to be included for the rent. Then I went after them for my money. I was told the rentals, it was a labor issue. I went to the labor board. They said it was a rental issue. And anyways, they ended up boarding up my place against a court order.
2015, started off a year off with a fiance, a $20 an hour job. A life by the end of 2015. But the music thing started, right? The only thing that's kept me sane in the last 3 years, other than now that the new girlfriend is the guitar, right? I actually, I never ever go anywhere without the damn thing around me.
I was in a really controlling relationship with a guy. And when we broke up, he started to withhold my son from me. And I was like the empty shell of a human being when we broke up. I didn't know who I was. I didn't have any idea anything about myself besides being a mom. And so when he started withholding my son from me, I had nothing. I felt like if I didn't have my son, I didn't want to have anything. And so literally at the time, I made a conscious decision to just give everything up and go homeless. I know it sounds weird to you, but I mean, for me at the time, I was so done fighting with the guy that I just couldn't deal with it.
I went to jail and Sunrise, I was in Sunrise Apartments, and it burnt down. So I lost everything, and that's when I got homeless.
When you get wet, there's nowhere to go. The only place that lets you really in is the library. You go to Tim Hortons, get out. You can't sit here, even though you buy a coffee.
I was in the bathroom in the library not even a week ago. A security guard came in and actually was rousting us to get out of the toilets. Me and the guy that was in the other toilet were like, "Are you kidding?"
The problem is not stealing. We steal from each other is the problem. And which is, back in 2003, we had such a code like the bikers and stuff. We didn't steal from each other. You watched everyone's pack sack. You didn't go around thieving from.
A lot of people do tend to take things that are not theirs. We're trying to cut that down, really. But there was a lot less people in my camp than in this one. We're trying to regulate it, but it's hard. I do have my own house, so I can go back there and calm down and regulate myself and take it easy. But I always have to come back here and make sure everybody that I love is okay.
Just because my situation isn't what it's supposed to be or what everybody thinks it's supposed to be doesn't mean I have to hate it. Doesn't mean I have to make it the worst time of my life.
This place reminds me of when I was growing up. No one's gonna make me leave this town, period, right? It's almost like, well, we can get you someplace to live, but you gotta go to Surrey or you gotta go here. I'm staying right where I am, right? I'll figure it out myself.
Where I am, and it's just like a jail cell. You have cameras everywhere, even in the elevator, till you get into your suite.
It's a home. I mean, I will admit that it's really nice to be able to have a shower when I want to, have power, all that kind of stuff. But when you move into that kind of a home, the walls are there, the door is there, the floor is there. It's all there when you move in. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to put up a tarp. You don't have to do anything to that place. When you build your home from the ground up, it's really not easy to leave it.
I had broken ribs. I woke up in my bed and I had this horrible feeling that I would die there alone, right? Instead of down here. Because they would know if I was dead. But the guys up there wouldn't. And then I come down here and I tell a few people, you think anybody would care if I died in my apartment? You think anybody would even wonder where I was? I don't know.
A friend of mine, Lester, just died not long ago. And he said to me, nobody says hi to me anymore. They don't care about me. All they want is what I have. After when he said that to me, I'd walk around and I'd be like, hi, how are you? Good morning. I think people should say good morning to people, and they should just, if you walk down the street and you see somebody, say hi.
And people just don't talk to each other. And I mean, like in tent city, you can't really avoid knowing the people around you or talking to them because, I mean, as soon as you leave your tent, it's like, poof, there you are with around 300 other people.
You just have to enjoy the ride. Whatever ride you're doing, right? Most people get hung up that they don't have what the Joneses have or something like that, right?
Even though people may feel a certain way about me, I still love you. And I'll be there for you too if you need me. Okay?
I'm proud to be a Canadian citizen. We're a country known for being kind and compassionate, but I find it difficult to stay proud when the kindness and compassion ends between our citizens. I'm a proud Canadian, though.
I'm a brother.
I'm a caregiver.
I am a friend.
And I'm a musician.
And then I said, I'm me. That's all.
Linda's line near the end there always gets to me. She said, even though some people may have certain think certain things about me, I want them to know I still love them. We asked her, what do you want the community beyond Anita Place to know? And that was her answer. I think we often read the stories of Jesus and we get into a place of theology or faith or headspace about what we're supposed to be doing and what it means to be a Christian or a churchgoer. And moments like this, moments like Zyla naming at the end, we said, just tell us who you are. And she said, okay, can I have a minute? And she started writing, and you saw her pull it up at the end, and she says, I am proud to be Canadian. She wanted people to know, she wanted you to know that she is with you, that she is part of community, that she is to be known and to be loved and to be cared for, just like she cares for you and for others. And it reminds me every time we have this conversation that we do all kinds of big, up in the sky level kind of thinking. And when it comes down to it, Jesus asked us to go and restore humanity, to restore dignity, to restore hope, to restore wholeness, to bring about peace in the lives of those around us. And so we ask, how do we do that? Is it through our worship? Can be. Is it through our theology? Well, it probably needs to have something beyond that. Is it through our we might say our faith or our belief? Again, there needs to be some meat behind that. There needs to be some action there. There needs to be some work behind what that means and how we believe what Jesus was doing for us and for the world.
Thanks for listening to this sermon podcast from Open Door Church. Our intro and outro music was created by Lee Rosevear and is used under a Creative Commons by attribution license. Have a great week, ask the hard questions, and explore God's love. Everyone is always welcome to join the journey with us at Open Door. Learn more at opendoorfamily.ca. That's opendoorfamily.ca.